What to look for when buying a house to flip. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to look for inside, outside, and behind the scenes when buying a flip, so you don't end up with a money pit. People ask me all the time, Glenn, so what do you look for in a flip? Well, I've bought over 1,200 houses, so I speak from experience. And in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly what I look for in a flip. If you're nervous about picking the wrong property, well, you're not alone. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I use in this video. The truth is, most bad flips start with a bad buy. And I'm going to help you avoid that by knowing what red flags to spot and what green lights you should chase. Okay, I want you to always start with the end in mind. And what I mean is, if you're going to flip a house, who is your end buyer going to be? Once you know who your end buyer is going to be, you can define your buy box. The buy box is how you define the exact property that you want to buy. And the better defined your buy box is, the more successful you're going to be as a flipper. You're looking for things like square footage. What size are you comfortable in? Are you looking for a 1,500 square foot, 2,500 square feet, 10,000 square feet? Are you looking for first-time home buyers? Are you looking for multifamilies? Are you looking for duplexes? Are you looking for luxury homes? The more you can define what you're looking for and where it's located, the better you'll be successful. So start asking yourself, what school district works best for me? What neighborhood works best for me? And what style of home works best for me? And what age of home works best for me? Again, the more you can define your buy box, the more successful you're going to be as an investor. So once you have your buy box defined, the next thing is the math. Let's see how the math plays out. So you have to know a few important things to figure out the math. Number one is what we call the ARV, which stands for after repair value. That means what will the house sell for when I'm all done with my flip? That's a really important number to start with because your equation starts with that. Once you have the ARV, the next thing you want to know is what are my repair costs? Once you know that, then you can use this equation. You take the ARV and you multiply it by 60 to 70%. I'll explain that in just a minute. And then you subtract your repair costs. That number will be your MAO. MAO stands for your maximum allowable offer. How much can I offer the most on this property to give me the profit margin I need to cover my buying costs, my selling costs, and everything in there? What exactly do I need to make this deal work? Once you have that math, everything starts to come together. The reason I say 60 to 70% is that's going to assume a 30 to 40% gross profit margin on the project. That should net you between a 15 and 20% margin after the expenses come out. It's a really important equation to protect your downside and maximize your upside on any flip. Math matters. So every walkthrough, what am I checking for? Well, number one, your job starts as you drive in the neighborhood. Start looking around the neighborhood. See what other houses look like. What are the comps or comparable sales going to look like in that neighborhood? You don't want to over-renovate a neighborhood, and you don't want to under-renovate a neighborhood. So start looking when you drive down the road. Most new investors miss this. When you pull in the yard, look around the yard. How does the outside of the house look? How do the majors on the outside of the house look? How does the roof look? How does the siding look? How does the soffit look? All the different types of things that you see on the outside of a house. How does the porch look? How does the driveway look? Is there a garage? Is it attached? Is it detached? These are all important things you want to look at when you're evaluating a piece of property. Now, once you get inside, I want you to go right down to the basement, or if you don't have a house that has a basement, start looking at the foundation of the house. Does it look solid? Is it square? Are there any problems with it? Then start looking around at the cosmetics of the house. Does the kitchen need to be upgraded, repaired, replaced? Does the bathroom need to be upgraded, repaired, replaced? These are all important things you want to ask yourself. I'm going to give you a really, really simple way to answer those questions without being a contractor and without knowing how to really estimate the job costs. Everything falls into one of three buckets. Is it okay as is? Do I need to repair it? Or do I have to replace it? And that will determine the cost of the project. Don't get overcomplicated with the minute details of things like a crack on the wall or a cracked window. That's going to cost $50 to replace. Don't look at small expenses. Just ask yourself, is what I'm looking at okay as is, repair, replace? Now, this is not an exact science, and I am not a contractor, but here's my rule of thumb. If it doesn't look right, it probably isn't. Now, there are things that you can't see that you should have a professional inspect. Number one is a septic line. You might want to inspect a sewer line if there's trees nearby. You definitely want to inspect a well if there's a well on the property, and that's their main source of water. Get professional opinions and professional inspections, because these things can be complete deal busters that can cost tens of thousands of dollars and blow your budget out of the water. Here's areas that I'd avoid at all costs. Number one, I would avoid high crime districts. Those are not great places to flip a house for a wide variety of reasons, which I'm sure you understand. I would avoid historic districts. You know why? You have to renovate the house per their standards and on their timeline. Take it from someone who's not done well on historic flips in the past. They might look really cool, but they're not great money makers. I'd be leery of very, very busy roads. They don't tend to be fast sellers. Be very cautious of any house that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, as they're not very popular in today's world. And if they're under 1,000 square feet, so there's no room to grow or add on, be very cautious of those. Matter of fact, I'd stay away from the smaller square footage. And also, I'd stay away from flood zones. We had a house one time that we purchased. I did not know it was in a flood zone. I didn't do a check. And the long and short of it is, we actually found out later, after someone else bought it, was in a flood zone. We had to find some very creative repairs to change the elevation of that house just so we could sell it. So stay away from flood zones. So when you're looking at flips, there's cosmetic and there's structural. I recommend if you're a new flipper, go with cosmetic flips. They are much easier. Kitchens, bathrooms, paint, make the house look great and sell it. Structural gets a lot more complicated and a lot more expensive, and you open yourself up to a lot more risks because you're dealing with major problems with the house. Learn to spot the difference really fast. Here's a lot of hidden costs that beginners miss. Number one, old wiring. It might work, but it might be old, what's called knob and tube wiring, or BX cable wiring. That's where it's in the metal container. There's a lot of things you want to look for in an electrical panel. Again, if it doesn't look right, it probably isn't. You want to look for brand new or newer wiring in a house. Old iron plumbing. If you see iron pipes and drains, there's a good chance they're not working properly. They might work, but they're not going to work properly. You're going to have to replace them, so figure those costs in. Maybe the house has asbestos wrapped around the pipes or in the attic. Be sure and check for that. Old HVAC systems, sewer lines, or even grading outside. These are important things to be looking for. This is really important. Smell and junk in the house doesn't mean it's going to cost a whole lot more to renovate. Matter of fact, that smell is the smell of money, because most people will walk away from it. So when you walk into a house, remember, the only difference between what I call a hoarder house and a house that is beautiful but it's got 1970s fixtures all throughout, the only difference is the cost of a couple of dumpsters to clean it out. You're going to repaint and you're going to redo everything anyway. So don't be confused by that. That's an important thing that a lot of rookies overlook. The smell is the smell of money. Buying right is everything. You make your money in real estate when you buy. You ever hear that you can't outrun a cheeseburger? Well, you can't out-rehab a bad buy. If you want to buy smart, you have got to know your rehab numbers. You have to know your after repair value and what you can pay for the deal. Go watch our video, How to Evaluate a Flip Deal Like a Pro. And I'll show you how to evaluate renovation costs step by step so you can make smart offers and avoid surprise expenses. Click the link in the description below.